So this video, we're going to try and get into what should you put into your webinar. So you've got a workshop coming up. You've spent all this effort trying to promote the workshop. You really want people at the end of the workshop to buy your product or join your course or come to your program or sign up or buy tickets to your conference. And you want this webinar to make them want to do that. And you're thinking, what do I put in here? And your prep is taking you everywhere. So this video, we're going to try and get into what should you put into your webinar, right? So first thing first, what is the purpose of your webinar? And I don't mean the topic, and I don't mean what it does for you in your business. What is the purpose of the webinar for the audience, for the purpose who is attending your webinar? What is the purpose, right? If we think about this funnel that they've been traveling through. They've been having a journey down this. They've maybe seen you on LinkedIn or Instagram and decided they want to follow you, and they've come into your world, and they've then seen some of your posts and maybe even had a conversation with you, and maybe spoke to you in the DMs, and you sent them an invite to come to this webinar. So your webinar is sitting in this zone here. Your webinar is in this space where it is sort of at the end of the funnel, but it's still very, very far away from the outcome that they desire. Yeah. The thing that's going to get them to that outcome is hopefully your product, your course or your software, your program, whatever it is the thing that's standing between where they are now and the outcome that they desire. So the webinar is not what's going to get them the outcome. The product is what's going to get them the outcome. That's going to take at least a couple of weeks, if not months, for them to work through or use and invest in to get to the other side. And they can't do it without your product, which is why they would buy your product. So the webinar is not the thing driving them the outcome. So what is your webinar doing? The one thing, the sole thing your webinar is doing is helping them make the decision about whether your product is the right product for them. So when you think about the content of your webinar, it should to the outcome, but it should definitely help them make a decision. If there's only one thing your webinar does, it's that it should help them make a decision. So the first thing your webinar needs to do is showcase where they came from and where they're heading. Set out the direction. If they don't agree with the problem of where they were in the past, where they've come from, then this is not for them. If they don't have a problem, they're not going to want the solution. If the outcome or the dream is not what they're striving towards, then they're not going to want to get there. So the first thing that sets context is, where are you now? Where do you want to get to? So where are you now? Where do you want to get to? What is the future that you're going to help them achieve the outcome? What is that? And that's the first layer of setting context and helping them make a decision. So if they say, nope, this problem is not for me and this outcome is not for me, then I'm going to leave. This is not my product. So that's the first thing you kind of want to get out of the way, right? But if they do have the problem and they do want that future and they align with you and they say yes, then the second layer of things that they need to know to make a decision whether to buy your product is the why. Why your product? Why is it better than any of the other products? And there's two reasons why something can be better than another product. And that is, one, it's either it's either faster or it's more accurate. So if you've got a product that's faster or more accurate, then people will buy your product, right? So they've then, at this point, they would have agreed to the problem and dream that they're moving from and towards. They would have then agreed, like, cool, yes, I can see that this is faster and more accurate. And then comes the third layer of decision making that they're looking for. Now, the third layer of this decision making is about costs. This is the point at which we start worrying about costs. It's not all the way right in the beginning. It's about, okay, fine, I have this problem. I want this outcome. And I agree that your product is probably the best way to get to that outcome. But what is it going to cost me? And now, if there are certain things that someone could pay you endless amount of money for and you wouldn't do it because money doesn't stand against your values, your morals, the kind of life you want to live, and the things that you just can't see yourself doing. So, beyond money, the first cost that really matters is what are they going to go through as a result of using a product in the attempt of getting to that outcome. And so the third thing you need to tell them is how. How are you going to get them there? How are you going to get them the outcome so that they can visualize going with you on that journey and decide for themselves, yes, it's for me, no, it's not for me. It's kind of like going to the gym and your instructor says, I can help you lose 10 kgs in 1 month. But how are you going to get there? You're going to have to eat no sugars, no ice cream. We're going to wake you up at 5 in the morning. You're going to be doing 10K every other day. I'm going to say, that's not sustainable. I can't do that. I can't see myself doing that. It's not about you. It's not about my belief in you. It's about my belief in myself that I can't see myself doing that and I can't see myself getting there. So when you share the how, it's about them being able to believe that they can take that journey with you. And that's not for you to decide. That's for them to decide. All you can do is share in good detail what it looks like. How do you get them that outcome? And so at this point, they've decided that, yes, they've decided that, yes, I have this problem and I want to move towards this dream future, and your product is faster and more accurate or more accurate. And cool, I can see how you're going to get us there. Like, I can see myself following that journey and that path, and I'm willing to make some sacrifices. But is it going to be worth it? That's the last thing that you need to share with them is it going to be worth it? Is the money, the effort, the grind, the pain, the time it takes to get to that outcome, is it going to be worth it? Because even though they agreed to have this dream, now is when they're actually seriously thinking about, is it going to be worth it? Do you want something? Yes. Is it worth the pain, the struggle, everything it takes to get there? Your answer might become no at this point. So here's where Alex Hormozy's value equation kind of comes into play, which he says is that the value of your product is equal to the dream outcome, how well is it defined, and whether it's aligned with them, times the likelihood of achievement, can they actually get to the end, divided by the time it takes to get there and the effort and cost of getting there. So hopefully, if you follow this 4-step framework within your webinar, you would have already showcased them the dream outcome, the likelihood of achievement, the time it takes to get there, and the effort they're going to have to put in. And actually, finally, been able to help them make the decision of whether your product is the right product for them or not. And if they've agreed with this being the problem to solution, if they've agreed that this is the thing that they want to do and they can see them doing it and they think it's worth it, that's the point at which you can share with them what the price of your product is going to be. Because that's when they can finally make a fair trade-off of, is it worth the price? Is it worth the cost of paying money in addition to all of those other things? All of those other things come first before the price, right? Sometimes it's very obvious. People come in with preconceived notions and you still walk them through this entire process so that they are with you on the same page and they don't just think that it's a bargain, pay for it, and realize that it's something totally different. That's not what you do. So to recap, the function of your webinar is simply to help people make a decision whether they want to buy your product or invest in your company or come to your conference or not, because they're working towards a dream outcome that hopefully you're going to be getting them towards. So leave in the comments below what was useful for you and drop me a follow for more content like this, helping clinicians become founders. I've been Shub. See you in the next one.